Good evening. I would like to call to order the Monday, June 23rd Common Council meeting. Clerk Torado, I believe you would like to make some comments regarding the link for tonight's meeting and other expectations.
Good evening, members of the public. For audio quality, we will be muting everyone not speaking by default to maintain good audio quality for council members and yourselves. If you would like to speak during the meeting on a certain agenda item or during privilege of the floor, please submit your request in the chat. Directions to do so will be listed. We ask that you provide your full name, address, and topic you wish to speak on, as those are required for all speakers at in-person council meetings. If you would like to be called on during the meeting to provide public input, please insert the following into the chat, and you will be called on during the relevant time for public input. My name is full name, and I live at address, and would like to speak for or against agenda item. You will then be given 5 minutes to speak. Please be sure to unmute yourself prior to giving your remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, I would just like to remind everyone present that disrespectful, rude, or disruptive speech or actions will not be tolerated. Such speech and/or actions, as well as verbal attacks on any person, may result in the individual, without notice, forfeiting the remainder of his or her allotted time. Thank you to everyone who is here this evening, council members, staff, city staff, and members of the public alike. I do want to announce that if you are here for bill number 62-24, that has been withdrawn and there will be no further action taken. If you are here for bills 3125, which is amending the zoning on 314 West Chippewa, or bill 32-25, amending the ordinance at 1037 West Colfax, both bills are tabled to the July 14th committee meeting and council meeting. With that, we are very glad to welcome Pastor David Troxel of Grace Brethren Church, who will provide an invocation this evening. If everyone could please stand.
Thank you for the privilege of bringing the prayer tonight. Back when a young man was in our church, he designed the South Bend flag. So we're proud to have that connection with everybody here. Let's have a word of prayer together. Our dear Heavenly Father, you are most concerned about what concerns us. You've laid out a plan that's not only for tonight, but rolls on into eternity. And we thank you that you have chosen to reveal that to us. We ask tonight, Lord, in your great wisdom, that you would share that with these who are here. Bless the public and the council as they make decisions, Lord, concerning many who are out there. Lord, may what they decide, using all of the resources at their hand and all of the plans that they can come up with, may what they decide, Lord, bless you, glorify you in your general plan as well. And may each person be satisfied, Lord, with the results. Thank you for giving us, Lord, your wishes revealed through your Holy Spirit, and bless this time with success, with a great time of camaraderie and citizenship. We appreciate, Lord, your being here with them and guide them, Lord. May what they do bless the most and the most needy. In Jesus' precious name we ask it. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
We will now recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Clerk Torado, can you please take roll?
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Yeah, for you. No, that's for you.
Councilmember McBride,
Present.
Councilmember Warner,
Present.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Present.
Councilmember Niskoski,
Present.
Councilmember White,
Present.
Councilmember Dr. Davis,
Present.
Vice President Thomas Morgan,
Present.
Council President Lee is absent. 8 council members present.
Thank you. We will now go to the report on the Subcommittee of Minutes. Clerk Toretto?
To the Common Council of the City of South Bend, the subcommittee has inspected the minutes of the May 28th, 2025 and the June 9th, 2025 meetings of the council and found them to be correct. Therefore, we recommend the same be approved.
Will now entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept the minutes, the May 28th and the June 9th minutes.
There is a motion and has a second. Clerk Toretto, can you please take, oh, yes, can you please take roll?
No.
Can we vote by acclamation? Okay.
Point of question, though,
Yes.
if I may. Thank you. I have a question, because, it's always good to learn. So last week, due to some things, we had to postpone the approval of the minutes. And so this might be a question for parliamentarian. I went to make a motion to postpone, to table it, and it was said it wasn't necessary. And then it came to my remembrance that in January, we had a situation, we had to delay it, and a motion was made. So just for consistency, I would like to know what is the proper way to do that if we have situation where we just have to delay?
There would not have to be a motion to table. It's just, there is no motion to approve. It's not legislation. You're talking about the minutes?
Yes,
Yeah.
the last time we had to delay, a motion was made, a second, and we voted. And then this, just last week.
That would not be necessary.
So you saying that in January, that was not necessary?
Correct.
Thank you. I think we should
The
be just,
question.
yeah, consistent.
Agreed. Thank you. There is a motion. It has been seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Both the minutes have been approved. We now have, we'll go on to special business. President Kenneth Lee had drafted this special proclamation recognizing June as Immigrant Heritage Month and June 20th, 2025 as World Refugee Day. So both myself and Councilman Troy Warner will present it on his behalf.
A special proclamation of the South Bend Common Council recognizing June as Immigrant Heritage Month and June 20th, 2025 as World Refugee Day. Whereas in June 2014, President Obama issued a proclamation establishing June as National Immigrant Heritage Month. And whereas this annual recognition provides people across the United States an opportunity to recognize and celebrate the contributions of immigrants to American society and to reflect on the diverse cultural heritage and shared diversity that form the unique character of the United States as a nation of immigrants. And whereas Immigrant Heritage Month is also a time to foster empathy and understanding for the immigrant experience, thereby fighting xenophobia and promoting diversity and inclusivity. And whereas the 2025 theme for Immigrant Heritage Month is Generations of Strength, honoring the past, building the future. And whereas World Refugee Day is also celebrated in the month of June, specifically June 20th. And whereas World Refugee Day was first recognized by the United Nations Refugee Agency on June 20th, 2001. And whereas the United Nations Refugee Agency was established by the General Assembly of the United Nations in 1950 after the aftermath of World War II to assist millions of people who lost their homes during the war. And whereas today the agency works in 137 countries to provide life-saving assistance, including shelter, food, water, and medical care for those forced to flee conflict and/or persecution.
And whereas the annual World Refugee Day focuses global attention on the rights, needs, and dreams of refugees so as to give them hope to not only survive, but to thrive. And whereas South Bend has a long history of welcoming immigrants and refugees into the community, with the result being many cultural and economic contributions to the city. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the South Bend Common Council as follows. Section 1. On behalf of the citizens of the city of South Bend, Indiana, we are pleased to recognize the month of June as Immigrant Heritage Month and June 20th as World Refugee Day. Section 2. The city of South Bend acknowledges the many contributions in all their forms made by immigrants and refugees throughout the history of the city. And Section 3. The South Bend Common Council resolves to continue to strive toward an inclusive and diverse community so as to share in all the contributions immigrants and refugees will share with the community in the future. At this time, we have members, representatives of the community and organizations who work with immigrants and refugees in our community. So we'd love for you to come to the podium, state your name, the organization or committee that you represent, and maybe a line or two about the work that you do.
Good afternoon, or good evening. I'm John Pinter. I live at 1224 Sunnymead in South Bend. I'm the director of the United Religious Community, and we are part of a lot of different activities around both of the immigrants writ large and refugees coming to this community. And we're in the process and still working to support somewhere in the area of 110 refugees who've resettled in all in the city of South Bend since January of last year. We're very much hoping to resettle more folks who'll be coming. Things are on pause right now, but we are very appreciative of the city for its, and the council in particular, for this proclamation. And I invite everybody to come on Thursday, the 26th. We'll be doing a local observance at the main library. I believe it starts at 6, but this would be a good time to fact check that. I know I have to be there and I can't remember exactly when it starts. So we have food, a little panel discussion, and a movie. So everyone is welcome, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pinter.
Carl Hetler with the Department of Community Investment, offices on the 14th floor. Our department works to help make sure volunteers are trained in being trauma informed when they're working with people who have been through the refugee process, so that they're ready to welcome them, help them adjust to the community, and then also connect them with all the great resources we have here in our communities. We have so many different mental health resources, other assistance with housing and building community. And so I help make sure that our people who are being resettled here have those connections, have that support, both within the religious, social service agencies, that we have so many great options here in the South Bend. We can connect people, so they have that support, get the opportunity to build community, and they'll invest then in our neighborhoods and help thrive and develop our city of South Bend.
Thank you, Mr. Hetler.
Hi, I'm Kathy Schreiner. I'm a volunteer coordinator for a new organization in South Bend called Project Dignity, which was established last year by Bridget Donahue. Bridget's experience with housing refugees herself inspired her to coordinate more of an effort to complement the organizations that already exist here in South Bend, and then to further that by more of a personal relationship with the refugees. So that's Bridget's goal, is to be more in relationship and to help them with finding housing and with the goal of dignity by their own perspectives and their own goals and hopes. So thank you very much for this.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Schreiner, for being here. And there are other organizations too that represent work with this population who could not be here today. Included are La Casa de Amistad, Neighbor to Neighbor, and other groups. So at this time, those organizations, we will be mailing you a copy of the proclamation. But if we could ask council to take a picture with you, then we can send that to you as well. So if everyone could join us for a picture up front.
I'm never in the pictures. Well done.
There is no special business. There are no reports from city offices today. Now I will entertain a motion to resolve into the committee of the whole.
So move. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay.
The Committee of the Whole is now in session. This is the portion of the council's meeting where bills are given a second reading and a public hearing before a committee made up of all 9 council members. All bills set for this second reading and public hearing have previously been given a first reading and a committee hearing prior to this evening's meeting. In addition, we will hear from the chairperson of the standing committee where the bill was discussed and the results of that discussion. If the proposed ordinance is a zoning ordinance, a report from a staff member will be given. In all other situations, the formal presentation on the proposed ordinance will immediately follow the committee report. The formal presentation shall be untimed. Members of the public shall have the opportunity to address the council in a public hearing portion on the bill. Clerk Torado, well, first we have a couple preliminary issues. Bill 6424 has been withdrawn by the petitioner, so that bill will be stricken. Bill 3125 was tabled until July 14th, and Bill 3225 was tabled to July 14th. So that takes us to Bill 3325. Clerk Torado, will you please give Bill 3325 a second reading?
Public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council, the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending ordinance number 11160-24, which fixes maximum salaries and wages of appointed officers and non-bargaining employees of executive departments of the City of South Bend for calendar year 2025 to make position changes in the Human Rights Commission.
Thank you. Sharon Itzgatsky, is there a report?
Yes, there is, Chair. This was heard in Personnel and Finance this afternoon, and it was given a favorable recommendation to the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. We'll turn it over to the staff member for presentation of the bill. State your name and address and share the key points. Thank you.
Kyle Willis, City Controller, offices on the 12th floor. Bill number 3325 amends the non-bargaining salary ordinance. This is bringing back a not a new position, but a position that we removed for the 2025 budget, but has been determined that it needs to be brought back for the Human Rights Commission division. Incident Investigator 3, this position would ensure oversight over the intake coordinators to make sure important information isn't being omitted, overlooked, and that they are providing accurate and tracking their information correctly.
Thank you. Council members, do you have any preliminary questions? Seeing no questions, at this time we'll go to the public hearing portion of the bill. Members of the public shall have the opportunity to address the council, beginning with members in favor of the bill, each limited to 5 minutes, and then we will go to those members of the public against the bill, again limited to 5 minutes. Is there anyone from the public, either in person or online, wishing to speak in favor of Bill 3325?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor.
Okay, at this time, we'll go to members against the bill. Do we have any members of the public in person or online at this time wishing to speak against Bill 3325?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in opposition.
At this point, the public hearing on the bill is now closed. Bring it back to council members. Any further questions or comments? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to send Bill 33-25 to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for a favorable recommendation. Clerk Toronto, can you please do a roll call vote for us?
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Dr. Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers, Council Vice President Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
8 ayes.
Bill 3325 will go forward with a favorable recommendation. We'll now move on to Bill 3425. Clerk Toronto, can you please give Bill 3425 a second reading?
Public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, appropriating additional funds for certain departmental and city services operations for the calendar year 2025 of $2,512,780 from the general fund number 101, $520,000 from the Parks and Recreation Fund number 201, $65,000 from the Motor Vehicle Highway Fund number 202, $37,500 from the Gift Donation Request Fund number 217, $2,945,000 from the Local Income Tax Economic Developmental Fund number 408, $650,000 from the Waterworks Operations Fund number 620, $2,407,550 from the Waterworks Capital Fund number 622, $5 million from the Sewage Works Capital Fund number 642.
Thank you. Chair Nitzgotsky, is there a committee report?
Yes, there is, Chair. This was heard in Personal and Finance this afternoon, and it was given a favorable recommendation to the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you very much. Mr. Willis.
Yes, Kyle Willis, City Controller, offices on the 12th floor. Appropriations from Bill 34-25, from Fund 622, $1 million appropriation from the Waterworks Capital Fund. From Fund 642, $5 million for sewer capital improvements. Both of those appropriations will go towards the long-term capital plan for the city. And from Fund 408, $2.5 million appropriation for the city's match for the Kennedy Park grant.
Thank you, sir. Council members, any questions?
Question.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson.
I'm having a little trouble hearing, so you might have answered this. When you said the money from the Waterworks operation, is that for a capital project that,
So it's Fund 622, which is the Waterworks Capital Fund.
okay, to improve our.
Yep.
There you
Yep.
go. Thank you.
Mhm.
Trying to turn my hearing aids up. Goodness.
Any other questions from councilmen? Clarifications? Seeing none, at this time, we will go to public hearing portion on Bill 3425. Any members of the public wishing to speak in favor, either in person or online, regarding Bill 3425?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor of the bill.
Thank you. Do we have any members of the public either in person or online, wishing to speak against Bill 3425?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in opposition of the bill.
Thank you. With that, we will close the public portion, the public hearing portion, and return back to the council. Any further clarification, questions, or discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion.
So I would like to make a motion to send Bill 34-25 to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion and a couple seconds to send the bill forward with a favorable. Clerk Torado, can you please do a roll call?
Councilmember Gooden Rogers. Aye. Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Dr. Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Warner.
Aye.
Councilmember McBride.
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson.
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Bill 3425 will go forward with a favorable recommendation. Now we will move on to Bill 3525. I believe that's a substitute. So at this time, may I have a motion to accept the substitute bill?
So move.
Have a motion to accept the substitute in a second. All those in favor signify by please saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Substitute bill has been accepted. Mr. Willis.
Yes, Kyle Willis, City
I need to
Controller,
read this.
offices on the 12th floor.
Sorry, we need to do a second reading. I got
Sorry.
ahead of my mistake. Clerk Torado, please, second reading. Thank you.
Public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, budget transfers for various departments within the City of South Bend, Indiana for the year 2025. Mr. Willis.
Thank you. Kyle Willis, City Controller, offices on the 12th floor. Bill number 3525, budget transfers. We have a budget transfer in the amount of $602,357 from the park maintenance budget to the new visitor experience budget within the VPA department to cover the transition of staff members from park maintenance to visitor experience. In the community initiatives division, a budget transfer of $200,000 to cover the poet outreach program expenses.
Mr. Willis, can you explain the difference between the original bill and the substitute bill?
So in the original bill, there was a budget transfer of about $25,000 within the waterworks division. It was deemed that budget transfer was no longer needed, so we had asked to have that removed.
Can we just strike that from it? Thank you. And council members, any questions or clarifications at this time? Seeing none, we will go to the public hearing portion on the bill. Any members of the public wishing to speak in favor of 3525 at this time, either in person or online?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor of the bill.
With that, we will move to those in opposition. Any members of the public, either in person or online, would like to speak against the bill?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in opposition.
Thank you. With that, we will close the public hearing portion on the bill. Bring it back to council. Any further comments, questions, declarations? If not, how about a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to send substitute Bill 35-25 to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for a favorable. Clerk Torado, can you please do a roll call vote for us?
Councilmember Dr. Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember McBride.
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson.
Aye.
Councilmember Warner.
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
8 ayes.
That bill will also go forward with a favorable recommendation. We will now move on to Bill 3625. Clerk Torado, can you please give Bill 3625 a second reading for us?
Public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the loan agreement and approving and authorizing actions in respect thereto.
Thank you. Bill 635 was heard this afternoon in Community Investment Committee and comes forward from that committee with a favorable recommendation. Welcome, Mr. Bauer.
Evening, council members. Caleb Bauer, Executive Director of Community Investment Offices on the 14th floor of this building. Before you this evening is a proposed modification of the loan agreement previously authorized by the South Bend Common Council related to the development agreement approved by the Redevelopment Commission for the Monroe development. If my slides will advance here. There we go. To locate ourselves, if you recall, this is a proposed project at the Fat Daddy site located on the southwest corner of Michigan and Monroe Streets in downtown, catty corner from the U.S. Postal Service building. It's part of a number of projects proposed and in process on the southern end of downtown. I won't go through all of them here, but of particular note were 3 projects that applied for ready funds together at the Inwoods building, here at the Monroe, and then across the street at Milkweed Commons. That Ready Grant Award was partially awarded, and so there are some state funds being deployed into these projects. Ultimately, they weren't awarded what they had fully requested, and so that's a part of why we're coming back to the council here, as well as the developer will share just cost increases that have been seen across many different construction projects in the last couple of years. So if you recall, this has been a few years in process. Real estate purchase agreement was approved in 2022, and then tax credits were preliminarily announced their award by IHCDA in 2023. Devereaux Peters, the developer, is now at the point of being able to sell those credits, and so that's what brings us here. And as a refresher, the original development agreement included a $13.7 million private investment commitment and a loan amount of $2.3 million, so roughly 14% of the total project. What we're proposing here today is a modification that would increase the loan amount to $3.3 million, but also increases the private investment commitment to $17.7 million, putting that at 15.7% of the project. We'd retain the same completion date, 36 months after closing. Our goal would be to close on the property here in the next couple of months. And so that would start that 36-month clock. There have been some slight adjustments to the total unit count, down from 60 units in the original agreement to 57 in this proposed amendment. Again, if authorized, if you were to approve this ordinance, this allows the deployment of tax increment financing dollars already appropriated by the Redevelopment Commission in the form of a forgivable loan to the developer. That loan is forgiven after completion of the full construction project. And so we're not asking the council to appropriate dollars for this. The Redevelopment Commission has already approved the appropriation of those funds, so they would be TIF funds. We just require council approval if we are doing those in the form of a forgivable loan. And with that, I will bring Devereaux Peters, the developer, up and let her share anything more she'd like to add.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Peters.
Hello, long time no see. So again, we are here today asking for these funds because at the end of last year, when we bid out our project with our previous contractor, we were $5 million over budget. So we spent all last year coming up with new ideas to not only value engineer and cut back on the building, but also to fundraise and get more funds so that we can meet somewhere in the middle and be at a point where we could get closed on our financing and start construction. And we have hopefully reached that point. We put in a lot of time and effort in these cost-cutting concepts. We changed our contractor from GC that was based out of Indianapolis to R. Yoder out of Napanee, who has been excellent at coming up with cost-cutting measures that will save the integrity of the building while and allow us to deliver what we stated we would deliver while saving us some funds and getting us to the point where we could close. And so we were able to find some balance in the middle there and come up with a building that changed the exterior slightly, but we're still able to maintain a lot of the interior finishes, high-level finishes, and the amenities that we wanted to provide within the building. And also put in a lot of effort to make sure that we were able to maintain a high quality because, to be quite frank, a lot of the contractors we initially talked to before we settled on Yar Yoder really wanted to cheapen the building as the easiest way to make sure that we could make our budget. I did not want to do that. I still wanted to provide a quality building. And so to make up the difference, I deferred half of my fee as well as took out some of our funds that we already spent that we will not be reimbursed for to make sure that we could get this building done at a very high level.
Thank you. Council members, any questions? That's a preliminary question. Okay. With that, we will move on to the public hearing portion on the bill. Any members of the public wishing to speak in favor of Bill 3625, either in person or online?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor of the bill.
Okay, at this time, then we'll move to members of the public against the bill. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak in opposition of Bill 3625 at this time, either in person or online?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in opposition.
Thank you. With that, we will close the public hearing portion. I'll bring it back to council members. Any comments? Councilmember
I
McBride.
have a comment. I just want to say I am glad to see that this project is finally moving along. Congratulations. And this has been a long process and I appreciate the work that you put in with it and excited to see it coming to fruition. Thank you.
Councilmember Nitzgotsky.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I just wanted to say thank you for not cheapening up the project and taking some of your own financial risk and for providing good quality housing for our residents here in the city of South Bend. And you stuck with the project and you maintained those commitments when we first met you. I forget how many ever months ago. I just want to say thank you. And I think that's important. And I know that you played here in our community and I appreciate you so much coming back and giving back to our community.
Member Davis.
Yes, I'm glad you were able to find the people over in the Napanee area that were able to really help you to be able to put this together in a better way. And I thank you. It's my first time meeting you. I was not here when you first came, but I'm glad that you are moving forward with this. This is something that that side of town has been looking for a long time. So thank you for doing it. I appreciate you.
I just want to say with the support, I hope it helps to get this project across the finish line so you can close, and we look forward to that groundbreaking. Thank you so much for your commitment to our community.
Thank you all. This has been a rough process. I was actually 30 when we started. I'm now 35. So it has been a very long road. You might see me cry at the groundbreaking, but I am very appreciative of all of you all for your support because it's the only way I was able to get through this. So thank you so much.
Well, I said something similar at Redevelopment Commission when we had that vote, and you know, I don't like the fact that we have to, you know, coming back to the table for another $1 million. I do understand that the budget increases, the reduced READY grant, and then I really, if given the market and what it takes to build a housing, multifamily housing, single family housing homes, material prices, I fully understand that, you know, if we're going to make affordable housing units, which these are, there's going to have to be, you know, finances coming from the state, just like we've got here, and the city, and you know, it's going to take multiple partners to be able to fund these projects. So we're thank you for your commitment to South Bend, and we're with these LIHTC projects, it's always small steps we're taking through multiple years. We've got another one we're going to be taking a first step on, and we've got one that's now they've got the elevator shaft in and kind of got 3 floors, and they're starting to put brick up, and we're excited on that one, and we're excited about yours too. So any other comments? If not, a
When it's
motion.
worth it, it's hard.
I'd like to move that we send Bill 36-25 to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
A motion and a second for a favorable. All those, or Clerk Toronto, can you please do a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Dr. Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride. Aye. Councilmember Gooden Rogers. Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson.
Aye.
Councilmember Warner.
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. The bill will go forward with a favorable recommendation. We'll move on to Bill 3725. Clerk Toronto, can you please give Bill 3725 a second reading?
Public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the zoning ordinance for property located 2018 South Main Street, 2020 South Main Street, Councilmanic District Number 3 in the City of South Bend, Indiana.
This was a zoning. Yes, Chair Davis. Do we have a committee report?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the zoning committee met this afternoon, and we bring Bill 3725 to this committee with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome. Ask that you state your name and address and the key points of the bill. Thank you.
Certainly. Good afternoon, council members. Tim Staub, zoning specialist for the city of South Bend with offices on the 14th floor. Before you is Bill 3725, a petition to rezone 2018 and 2020 South Main Street from industrial to urban neighborhood 3. For the construction of stacked flats that will house 50 units of low-income housing tax credit houses. The property is located in, as mentioned, Council District 3 of Councilperson McBride. It is bounded by South Main Street to the west, West Donald to the south, an alley to the east, and a parking lot featuring a McDonald's sign to the north. To the west, there's industrial zone properties. And to the south, there's industrial zone properties that feature detached housing. There is a neighborhood center zoned and commercial zone properties of mixed use and commercial uses to the east, and to the north is that parking lot which is industrially zoned. The applicant intends to construct a 4-story stacked flats housing structure, which will be a mixture of 1 to 3 bedroom units. They anticipate amenities to include a community room, fitness center, and on-site management offices, along with surface parking. It comes to you with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Molnar.
Evening, Council. Joe Molnar, Assistant Director, Growth and Opportunity with offices on the 14th floor of the County City Building. Before you, this rezoning is a partnership between KCG Development and the Redevelopment Commission, who is the owner of the property today, the Redevelopment Commission of South Bend. Just as Tim went over, this property is located just off Donald in Maine, a few blocks west of Riley High School. Today, the lot is vacant and has been vacant for approximately the last 15 or so years. As Tim stated, the zoning is kind of mixed around here, but there is multifamily zoning just across the alley, as well as residential zoning east of Michigan, and to the south of the property are single-family homes today. KCG will be applying for low-income housing tax credits through the state of Indiana, with the hope of they're awarded that they'll be able to construct the building with 50 affordable units. Approximately half of those units will be at the 60% AMI level, which today meets out to, for a one bedroom, that proposed rent would be about $750. And then the other half of the units being less than that, and the rents would be less than that as well. Those are the rents as they would be today. Obviously, if this project's built in 2 or 3 years is when it's opened, those might shift a little bit, but that'd be the range we'd be looking at. And the minimum investment for the site for the whole project is approximately $14 million. For the KCG timeline, the purchase agreement with the redevelopment commission does give them 2 years to apply for the tax credits, both this November in 2025 as well as November of 2026. Sometimes when the applicant gets really close on the first try, they can tweak their application and they're able to be awarded the credits at the next try. So we try to give them 2 before nullifying the agreement. If it was approved, construction would have to be complete by 2030. Here are some examples of KCG projects across the Midwest they've constructed. So we believe this would be a high quality built investment. And the project will provide needed affordable housing for the residents of South Bend, as well as invest millions of dollars into an important corridor, specifically Main Street, but also as this will be visible from Michigan Street as well. So we really think this will be able to improve that area, which would lead to improvements, including new sidewalks, added lighting, more activity. There'll be on-site management as well, and activating a long-held vacant lot of the city, which has only attracted low-value interest so far from developers such as gas stations and small convenience stores. So we think this is a good use going forward for the space. And a representative from KCG is here as well if she just wants to say a few words.
Good evening, Megan Schutz, VP of Development with KCG Companies. I think Joe covered the bulk of this project. We look forward to the opportunity to bring additional affordable housing to South Bend. City staff has been super helpful to work with to identify a site that was in need of redevelopment and hopefully the ability to revitalize that community and spark more development moving forward. We are based out of Indianapolis. I am in charge of Midwest development, so I'm in Wisconsin, but also in charge of Indiana and Ohio. So I'm a Midwest girl. That's all I've got unless there are questions.
Okay, thank you. Council members, any questions? Okay. With that, we'll go to the public hearing portion. Any members of the public wishing to speak in favor of Bill 3725, either in person or online at this time?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor of the bill.
Okay, we'll go to those against. Any members of the public wishing to speak in opposition of the bill, either in person or online at this time?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in opposition of the bill.
Okay. I'll bring it back to the council. Any comments?
I'm so excited. You know, I can't contain myself over here today. I am so excited to see this development come into my neck of the woods. I have been asking for redevelopment over in that blighted area of the neighborhood, and I'm just a few blocks away from that area. But to finally see, and we do a great job with SOAR 466 Works and Riley High School with the building of homes over in that area. But when you talk about Main Street and Miami Street, we've been talking about how to start uplifting that area and start developing. It depends on the way you're coming inland and to the district. So I am so excited to see that this will bring new life to that side, and hopefully people will catch on. And in that major corridor, there's a lot of opportunity for us to continue to thrive. So I'm excited today.
Thank you. Councilmember Davis.
Yes, as stated this afternoon, and even now I join Councilwoman McBride because this touches on right in her district. It also touches near the 5th district, and it touches in the 6th district. So like I said, it covers the at-large area, and I'm very pleased to see how this helps so many different districts. The people of South Bend really need this, and to see how this housing is coming to this general area has been really exciting for me. And I look forward to seeing these projects become fruition and come together.
Yes, I will add one comment that was discussed earlier, which was, this is a LIHTC application. They've got 2 years. That I think even if it doesn't happen, that this zoning change makes much more sense than it continuing to stay industrial. And maybe even at that point, 466 Works or somebody else can, we can get some housing in there one way or the other. So not that we don't want you to succeed, we absolutely do, but any other final comments? I have a motion.
Motion to bring this to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion for a favorable and a second. Clerk Toronto, can you please do the roll call?
Councilmember Bolden Simpson.
Aye.
Councilmember McBride.
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers.
Aye.
Councilmember Warner.
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Dr. Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. With that, the bill will go forward with a favorable recommendation. And we will move on to the final bill for the committee of the whole. Clerk Toronto, can you please give a second reading to Bill 3825?
Public hearing on an ordinance of the Common Council of the South Bend, Indiana, amending Articles 1 through 7 and Article 11 of Chapter 6 of the South Bend Municipal Code to update regulations governing the building department.
Thank you. Chair Nisgowsky, is there a committee report?
Yes, there is, Chair. This was heard in Public Works and Property Vacation Committee this afternoon and was given a favorable recommendation to the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you very much. Attorney Throw, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Jenna, my name is Jenna Throw, City Attorney with offices on the 12th floor of this building.
Randy James, Building Commissioner, offices at 125 South Lafayette.
This evening, we're here to present updates to the building ordinance, and in particular, the articles that are set forth in the ordinance that is before you this evening. The reason that the articles are set forth specifically is because some articles within Chapter 6 cover different topics. And so the articles that are specifically listed in the ordinance title are the ones that specifically apply to the operations of the building department. And because it is a very long ordinance, we've organized the different updates based on a series of topics. And so in explaining the updates, kind of go by topic to cover those. And so the first topic is adjustments to the permit fees. These updates are primarily located in Section 6-4. Particularly with the updated fee schedule, and that's the fee schedule that bases fees on construction costs. And there's also updates throughout the ordinance where the minimum fee was updated from $40 to $60, and we made other similar proportional adjustments throughout the ordinance. And those adjustments were made to account for inflation and general revenue generation to ensure that the revenues of the building department continue to keep pace with rising prices. And the department arrived at this revised fee structure at a level to ensure that services continue to be adequately funded without imposing an undue burden on applicants. And in working on the ordinance, was also reviewed comparable municipalities and determined that these fees were similar to what were charged by comparable municipalities. The second topic is with respect to definitions, and the definitions are contained in Section 6-1. The main update that we made there was to mostly change definitions to refer to specific provisions of code rather than try to restate the definitions in our own words. We felt that that change would allow for more consistency in interpretation and eliminate more opportunities for inconsistency. And also when those reference citations change, our definitions can change with them rather than having to come back and ask for amendments every time the reference citation changes. Our definition will change along with the referenced definition. The third topic is inspection protocol enhancement. These changes are primarily located in section 6-6 and section 6-6.1 on pages 14 through 16 of the ordinance. And these updates emphasize the cooperation between the building department and the fire department in their cooperative roles in promoting compliance with the regulations governing safety of structures. And also in section 6-6.1, we've updated that to include a red tag and citation cadence that is very similar to what is included in the zoning ordinance. And that provides for reinspection by the building department in between each issuance of notice to see if the problem has been resolved. The fourth topic is clarifying the rules for issuing a stop work order or a cease and desist. And this is contained in section 6-4.3 on page 9 of the ordinance. And this clarifies the procedures around issuing a stop work order for violations of the building code. It contains provisions for what needs to be in the order, what circumstances would give rise to an order, and how the orders are issued. But importantly, it does not preclude other remedies. So it just applies to what happens if there needs to be a stop work order. Then topic number 5 applies to abandoned construction projects and is addressed in section 6-4.7C on page 12. And this provides a more structured approach to abandoned projects and sets criteria for identifying an abandoned project once a period of time has gone by where no work has been done on a project, and outlines the next steps to refer those for additional enforcement, with a goal to ensure that abandoned projects do not become long-term safety hazards. The next topic is expanded inspection investigation authority. And this is in section 6-4.8 on page 12 of the ordinance. And this just clarifies that all construction is subject to inspection, regardless of whether a building permit has been obtained, to make sure that it complies with the rules set forth by the Fire Prevention and Building Safety Commission. I think sometimes there may be some confusion about that, but we've included that to make that provision clear. And then also included the provision that to the extent that there's any discrepancy, that those rules are not to be construed as more stringent than the rules of the state commission. For topic 7, we've included some provisions dealing with demolition. In section 6-6.4 on pages 18 through 20. Specifically, we've included some provisions related to the existing item requirements that parties applying for a demolition permit are already required to meet and are already provided in the materials that they're given from the building department. But we included that in the ordinance as well, just as an additional reminder for someone who's reading the building ordinance that to double and triple check that they're meeting those requirements. It also includes clarification of other items regarding access to the right-of-way, requirements for leaving the site in a buildable state, and handling construction and demolition waste. Topic 8 deals with contractor registration reforms. And those updates are primarily in Articles 6 and 7 and in Section 6-6.10. In Articles 6 and 7, those deal with electrical and HVAC contractors. That clarifies and streamlines the process for registration as a contractor in those areas and describes the approval process more clearly and the exam requirements and everything that goes in line with registering to be registered with the city in one of those areas. And then in Section 6-6.10, in compliance with state law, that section describes the requirements to suspend or revoke a registration on the basis of a criminal conviction. And it contains both the specific convictions upon which a decision may be made, as well as mitigating factors. And then topic 9 just kind of is generally process and administrative updates, not necessarily tied to a specific section, but kind of just generally an overarching approach to the updates as a whole. And then in topic 10, we looked at refinement of the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing regulations in Articles 4, 6, and 7. And here we wanted to clarify the line item fee schedules for when someone is going to apply for a permit in one of these areas to help it be more clear between someone who's looking at the ordinance and someone who's actually looking at the forms to apply for those permits so that both things look the same and there's no confusion over what they're being charged for versus what the fee schedule says versus what the forms say. And then finally, topic 11 is included to address a new Indiana legislature bill, HEA 1005. Those updates are in sections 6-4.9 and 6-5.2. And those address changes in state law related to new requirements that allow private providers to perform certain plan reviews and inspections. Those take effect January 1st, 2026, along with the state law, and describe the requirements for a private provider and contain other requirements consistent with the state law. Then, Randy, if you have other comments.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that as far as the fee increase, the building department is an enterprise fund, meaning it's totally dependent on its permit fees. And we remain competitive with every department in our area. And yet we're solely funded by our permit fees. So it's important to be able to raise them every once in a while to keep up with inflation and things like that. So as much as we hate to do it, that's the reason that's in there. And the other things were just pretty much cleaning up and streamlining the ordinance. And then the last topic was we had to follow suit with what the state law that was passed. So we had to get that in our ordinance because that takes effect beginning of next year. So now was the time to do everything.
Thank you. Council members. How many questions? Councilmember Gooden Rogers.
I have a question. My question is, can you go back to where you was talking about the demolition and tell me
Sure.
what was the old versus what you updated?
So on demolitions, a demolition contractor is required to go to Indiana Department of Environmental Management first to have the demolition site assessed, see if it has any asbestos or things like that. We've always asked them to do that. We just wanted to codify it, make sure it's in the ordinance so that it always happens, for the length of the history of the building department. It was never written anywhere. I done probably 6 years ago asked us to start doing it. And we thought, hey, let's put this in the ordinance so we never forget to do it.
And so specifically on that point, the language that was added, the language that was added to the demolition permit section, which is 6-6.4 on page 18 of the ordinance. The language is actually carries over onto page 19. On the item portion is in subsection E, where we include that prior to commencing demolition or renovation activities, the owner or operator of the facility must meet all inspection and notice requirements pursuant to 326 IAC 14-10 et sec as amended from time to time. And that's the part that we pulled from the paperwork that we've been giving to folks from IDEM, but we wanted to include it in the ordinance as well to remind them that there's an additional state requirement that they need to be aware of.
Thank you.
And then some of the other provisions that I mentioned in that slide, we also included in section F that the permit holder is required to comply with Public Works and Board of Public Works requirements for accessing the right of way. Subsection J includes definitions for includes references to leaving the site in a buildable state. And subsection L references how to handle construction and demolition waste.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Nitzkowski.
Thank you, Chair. I should have asked this in committee. In that section too, there's an exemption for 600 square feet. I believe that's still in there, right? So they don't have to obtain a $10,000 bond, but they have to meet all the other expectations. Is that correct? Okay, thank you.
A question that I know this was brought up in one of our earlier committee hearings. But how long has it been since we've amended the building ordinance? And then how long has it been since the fees have been adjusted?
Some of the provisions of the building ordinance, like as I'm flipping through the ordinance document, show that they've been last amended in 1992. Some have been amended more recently, but many of the provisions were last updated in 1992, but some are more recent. The fees look like they were last amended. The fees, the section with fees was last amended in 2019, but I don't know if you know when the fees themselves were last amended.
I was thinking we decided it was over 10 years since the fees were adjusted.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
That sounds about right.
Okay. Thought that was a good point of information. We're raising questions. Okay, with that, we'll go to the members of the public. The public portion hearing, any members of the public wishing to speak in favor of Bill 3825, either in person or online at this time?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor of the bill.
Any members of the public wishing to speak against the bill, either in person or online at this time?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in opposition of the bill.
Bring it back to council members. Any further clarification, comments?
Just a comment. Thank you, Chair. Just as I had commented in the committee, is I want to thank you both for the time you took, because that was a very large bill. You broke it down for us. We met a few times prior to it even having a first reading to have a full understanding of the amount of work that was put into this, and for us as council members to have a full understanding of what's going on in the bill. So I appreciate your time and your effort and your work on this, and it was badly needed because I know for sure there's other cities that they're paying less here than what some other cities are. So the fee schedule was needed.
I too want to thank you for all the work that you have done. You've been before our committee several times, and I appreciate this work. And now we are up to date, and I'm very pleased for all of that. So great job.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Motion?
Motion to bring this bill to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion for a favorable recommendation and a second. Clerk Toronto, can you please do a roll call vote for us?
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Dr. Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers, Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
8 ayes.
3825 will go forward with favorable recommendation. I will now entertain a motion to rise from the committee of the whole and report back to the full council.
So move.
Second.
It's been seconded and moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Committee of the whole is now adjourned.
The full council is now back in session. This is a portion of our meeting where bills are given a third reading and action is taken regarding bills that were heard during the committee of the whole. Clerk Toronto, can you please give Bill 33-25 a third reading?
Third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending ordinance number 11160-24, which fixes maximum salaries and wages of appointed officers and non-bargaining employees of executive departments of the City of South Bend for calendar year 2025 to make position changes in the Human Rights Commission.
I will now entertain a motion regarding Bill 33-25.
Move for passage.
Second.
Second.
Motion is on the floor and it has a second. Clerk Toronto, can you please call roll?
Councilmember Dr. Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
8 ayes.
Bill 3325 has passed. Clerk Toronto, will you please give Bill 3425 a third reading?
Third reading on an ordinance, excuse me, of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, appropriating additional funds for certain departmental and city services operations for the calendar year 2025 of $2,512,780 from the general fund number 101, $520,000 from the Parks and Recreation Fund number 201, $65,000 from the Motor Vehicle Highway Fund number 202, $37,500 from the Gift Donation Bequest Fund number 217, $2,945,000 from the Local Income Tax Economic Development Fund number 408, $650,000. Oh my gosh, I'm giving this a new title. From the Waterworks Operations Fund number 620, $2,407,550 from the Waterworks Capital Fund number 622, $5 million from the Sewage Works Capital Fund number 642.
Thank you, Clerk Toronto. Councilman Warner, is there a recommendation from the committee of the whole?
Committee of the whole sends with a favorable recommendation.
I will now entertain a motion concerning this bill.
Move for passage.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and it has a second for passage. Clerk Toronto, can you please call roll?
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Dr. Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
8 ayes.
Bill 3425 has passed. Clerk Toronto, can you please give Bill 35-25 a third reading?
Third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana for budget transfers for various departments within the City of South Bend, Indiana for the year 2025.
Councilman Warner is a recommendation from a committee of the whole.
Substitute Bill 3525 with sent with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. I will now entertain a motion regarding this bill.
Move for passage.
Second.
Motion is on the floor and it has a second. Clerk Toretto?
Councilmember Dr. Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
8 ayes.
Bill 35-25 has passed. Clerk Toretto, can you please give Bill 3625 a third reading?
Third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the loan agreement and approving and authorizing actions in respect thereto.
Councilman Warner, what is the recommendation of the committee of the whole?
Sent with a favorable recommendation by the committee of the whole.
I will now entertain a motion regarding Bill 3625.
Move for passage.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Clerk Toretto, can you please call roll?
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Dr. Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
8 ayes.
Bill 3625 has passed. Clerk Toretto, can you please give the next Bill 37-25 a third reading?
Third reading of an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending the zoning ordinance for property located at 2018 South Main Street, 2020 South Main Street, Councilmanic District Number 3 in the City of South Bend, Indiana.
Councilman Warner, what's the recommendation from the committee of the whole? I will now entertain a motion regarding Bill 3725.
Pass.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Clerk Toretto, can you please take roll?
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Dr. Davis,
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
8 ayes.
Bill 3825 has passed. We will now move on to resolutions. This is a portion of the council meeting where the Common Council hears bills filed as proposed resolutions.
Vice President Thomas Morgan.
yes.
I have
Yes,
38.
Oh,
3825.
we still have to do 3825.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving along here. Clerk Toretto, back to you.
You just. What?
What's that? Yes, could you please read 3825?
Third reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, amending Articles 1 through 7 and Article 11 of Chapter 6 of the South Bend Municipal Code to update regulations governing the building department.
Move for pass. Oh, you need a report from him.
Councilman Warner, is there a recommendation of the committee of the whole?
Last but not least, this comes forward with a favorable recommendation.
This is a big bill, so I will now entertain a motion regarding this bill.
Move for passage. Second.
There's a motion, couple motions and couple seconds. Clerk Toretto, can you please take roll?
Councilmember Dr. Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
8 ayes.
Okay, 38-25 has passed. Now we are with resolutions. This is a portion of the Common Council of the council meeting where the Common Council hears bills filed as proposed resolutions. The title of each proposed resolution is read by the city clerk. A report from the committee chairperson of the standing committee to which the bill was referred to for an advisory review and recommendation is then given. During the public portion on each proposed resolution, members of the public are invited to address the council. We ask that you please give your name, address, and comments on the bill. If you have any questions, they will be addressed by the presenter during their rebuttal. Each member of the public is limited to 5 minutes, though with those speaking in favor going first, followed by those in opposition, then a 5-minute rebuttal for the presenter of the bill. Clerk Torado, can you please read Resolution 25-34?
A resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend designating certain areas within the City of South Bend, Indiana, commonly known as 2020 South Main Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46613, an economic revitalization area for purposes of a 10-year real property tax abatement for KCG Donald and Main LP CO KCG Companies LLC.
Thank you. Do we have a petitioner tonight? Thank you, Mr. Molnar.
Evening again, Council. Joe Molnar, Assistant Director, Growth and Opportunity with offices on the 14th floor of the County City Building. I know some of you have now seen this project 4 times in just a few hours, so I will be a little briefer than we were earlier. But this is a designated resolution for a 10-year real property tax abatement for the KCG project at Donald and Main. The project is currently the project site is currently a vacant lot and has been for approximately 15 years. As discussed earlier, KCG is working to apply for low-income housing tax credits through the state of Indiana, and this tax abatement would be part of the city's contribution to that tax credit application. One of the point scoring mechanisms on how they judge the applications is if the local governing unit helps contribute to the property, and this tax abatement would be a part of the contribution, including a donation of land for KCG to get as many points as possible in that category, which makes it more likely that they'll actually be awarded the tax credits. As it was said earlier, it is a very competitive process, and approximately half of applicants don't get awarded. So we always want to make sure if there is an application that the city is supporting, we're doing everything we can to get them as many points as possible to get this affordable housing built in South Bend. As well as the project would activate a long held vacant lot and provide additional affordable housing options. Currently, the site would pay approximately $269 in property taxes, but because it's city-owned through the Redevelopment Commission, there are 0 taxes being paid. After the project is completed, that would rise to about $41,000 and over 10 years be about $450,000. This abatement would abate approximately $327,000 of that, leaving over 10 years a payment over a little over $120,000 compared to just about $2,500 without the project if it was in privately held hands. And after 20 years, a return on investment of over $611,000 estimated taxes paid compared to just $5,000 if it remains vacant land. So getting a structure built onto this property really is in the best financial interest, as well as all the other benefits as well from that the affordable housing would bring. But Megan, I don't know if you want to say one more thing like before, and then we're happy to take your questions.
So good evening again. Joe's got it covered, which has been my experience with the city so far, which has been awesome. As I mentioned earlier, these tax abatements go a long way in making sure that the affordable housing is economically viable, down the road as well. It allows us to ensure that there are the funds needed to continue operating at a high level and maximize our first mortgage. So it's a huge help, and it's a big help on the competitive side. Tax credits are a very competitive source. So we feel that we've identified every point we could get based on location for this project. So we feel like we're in a good spot, and this is a big part of that.
Thank you. Council members, are there any questions that you have? No? Seeing none, I will now go to the public. Clerk Torado, is there anyone from the public in person or online who wishes to speak in favor?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor of the bill.
Is there anyone here in the chambers or online who wishes to speak in opposition?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in opposition of the bill.
Okay, at this time, the public portion of the hearing is closed. I'll circle back to council members if you have any statements or comments. Yes, Councilmember Bolden Simpson.
Very happy, even though it's in the third district, Councilwoman McBride. I love it that as they go through the third district and enter the fifth district, it's a more pleasant view.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, I will now entertain a motion.
Move, bill number 2524 for adoption.
Second.
There has been a motion and a second. Clerk Torado, can you please take roll?
Councilmember Bolden Simpson.
Aye.
Councilmember McBride. Aye. Councilmember Gooden Rogers.
Aye.
Councilmember Warner.
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Dr. Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Resolution 25-34 has been adopted. Clerk Torado, can you please read Resolution 25-35?
A resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend designating certain areas within the City of South Bend, Indiana, commonly known as 701 West Chippewa Avenue, South Bend, Indiana 46614, in an economic revitalization area for purposes of an 8-year real property tax abatement for South Bend Chippewa LLC and South Bend Chippewa ACG LLC.
Apologize, I failed to do this last time. Is there a committee report?
It's from the Investment Committee with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Molnar, back to you.
Once again, Joe Molnar, Assistant Director of Growth and Opportunity, offices on the 14th floor of the County City Building. Before you today is a designating resolution for an 8-year real property tax abatement for South Bend Chippewa LLC, related company of Industrial Realty Group LLC, located at 701 West Chippewa Avenue. And just like the KCG project, this one straddles 2 councilmanic districts. So north of Chippewa is the 6th district, south of Chippewa is the 5th district. So once again, touching essentially 2 council district with this one as well. The property is a former industrial building that was completed during World War II or just before World War II, and has had a variety of industrial uses over its lifetime. The property tax abatement would be approximately for 8 years on the approximate 29-acre property, which is comprised of 1.4 million square feet, about 975,000 that being leasable for manufacturing, industrial, and office space. However, there currently is over 220,000 square feet of unusable space due to it being occupied actually by remnant testing cells that were used during World War II. And this project, which the petitioner can explain more, will help activate that unusable space and provide additional leasing and job opportunities, hopefully to bring more companies into lease spaces. Those improvements including additional dock positions, a truck court, and improved truck circulation around the property. Currently, the taxes are approximately $364,000. This project would raise that to $503,000. It would abate approximately $97,000 in taxes over its lifetime, and you can see the 10-year and 20-year explanations below, where even with the tax abatement, the net tax revenue still significantly goes up on the property. But if the petitioners would like to add anything, I know we had a good discussion at committee as well.
Try to scale this down a bit. Good evening again, council members. For those that I didn't have an opportunity to address earlier, my name is Matt DeVecchio. I'm a Vice President, Senior Portfolio Manager at Industrial Realty IRG Realty Advisors. It's a subsidiary of IRG. I'm here along with my colleague, John Shipshack. John is the property manager for this particular property located at 701 West Chippewa Street. I think Joe gave you kind of a good summary. I'm just going to hit on a little bit about who we are and what we plan to do. As one of the country's largest owners of commercial and industrial properties, IRG boasts a privately held managed portfolio exceeding 100 million square feet nationally, with over 150 major projects across 31 states. We are recognized for our expertise in adaptive reuse and complex real estate challenges. We certainly appreciate the opportunity to address you here again this evening regarding this real estate tax abatement and also consideration for any additional funding and assistance going forward down the road for the proposed redevelopment. Quick overview. This redevelopment project is significant. It's an initiative aimed at transforming this historic 29-acre property, which includes 1.4 million square feet, 975 of which we consider leasable. It's manufacturing, industrial, and warehousing space and office space. It was originally built in 1940, renovated in 1993. However, the property still requires substantial improvements to meet modern standards and demands. IRG envisions partnering with local and state governments to help us revitalize the former Studebaker manufacturing facility by converting currently unusable areas into high-demand leasable industrial space. We are prepared to contribute, and we are ready to move forward on our end with the significant, as we consider it, we look at this project in two phases. We are looking to start as soon as we can. The first phase, which would be roof replacement, significant project, asphalt, mill and repave, landscaping upgrades, building and architectural siding, new facility signage, trenching new utilities to the main building, and also making space ready by refreshing some of the old vacant space. This is a punch list that we're looking at estimating at around $11 million that we plan to start as soon as we get permits. We see phase two. Phase two is a little more complicated in that it involves an environmental abatement and demolition of the obsolete aviation engine test cell area of the building, where they actually used to test the engines for the aircraft. This will enable the redevelopment to utilize over 221,000 square feet on the north side of the building that is right now, it is not usable whatsoever. This redevelopment will include the installation of truck docks, enhancing the lease-up potential of the property, and the estimated cost for this component alone in the phase two would be in excess of $11 million. Any additional support is critical to ensure that we were able to address this piece of the project going forward. IRG, as I said, is committed to complete this first phase. And just to give you a little taste of who we have in there now in terms of the existing uses, John's going to just give you a real quick summary of just some of the tenants that we have in place currently.
Yeah, so we have a lot of warehousing tenants. One of them distributes car parts. We do have a warehouser who's storing product that's in the new Carlisle data center that's being built. There's a manufacturer that produces rubber hoses. AM General is still a tenant in this building. They store a lot of their overrun parts that they need for on demand. And there's also a bus company that houses buses there, and for the South Bend School District.
So we are going to actively market this redevelopment project, and we have had interest in particular for a 200,000 square foot user as soon as the space is ready and available. So the picture looks bright. We did a lot to clean up this project already. in terms of just, demoing a lot of the old landscaping and just cleaning up the grounds. And now the next phase, I think this facelift is really going to make a difference. It's really going to be nice. So I would just ask, in conclusion, we seek your support through the adoption of the resolution designating this property the economic revitalization area for purposes of this real estate property tax abatement. This collaboration will not only preserve a piece of South Bend's history, but also create jobs and foster economic growth in the community. We're eager and willing to answer any questions you have, and we really do appreciate all your patience and cooperation tonight.
Thank you, gentlemen. Council members, are there any final questions that you have? No final questions. Okay, seeing none, I will go to the public portion. Clerk Torado, is there anyone from the public in person and/or online who wishes to speak in favor?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor of the bill.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition?
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in opposition.
At this time, the public portion of the hearing is closed. I'll circle back to council members if you have any final statements or comments.
I'm just very glad that this is happening. Again, this is on our south side. It has had a lot of wonderful things tonight that has happened to it, and this is one of those projects that has been overdue so many times. I just drove past there. I live not too far, and so I'm glad to see this coming, and I'm grateful.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments or statements? Share your excitement, Councilwoman.
Thank you for your contribution and actually to hear that about the Studebaker building and restoring and preserving its integrity. That is amazing. So thank you so much.
We're excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add my thanks too. This is massive property and
it is.
acreage. Thank you for your continued commitment to our city.
Thanks so much. Thanks again. Have a good night.
Okay. I will now entertain a motion.
Move for adoption.
Second.
There has been a motion and a second. Clerk Torado, can you please take roll?
Councilmember Dr. Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember Nisgowsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Gooden Rogers,
Aye.
Councilmember McBride,
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden Simpson,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Vice President Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
8 ayes.
Resolution 2535 has been adopted. We now go to bills on first readings. Clerk Torado, will you please give 3925 first reading?
First reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 1039 Lincoln Way West and 50 Sheridan, Councilmanic District Number 1 in the City of South Bend, Indiana.
I'd like to entertain a motion to send Bill 39-25 to the Board of Zoning Appeals for public hearing on July 7th and to the Zoning and Annexation Committee for public hearing and third reading on July 14th.
Second. Question. I
Yeah.
want to know what is the 50 Lincoln Way West and 50 Sherman? That's what I want to know.
I haven't pulled it up yet, but
Look at it.
we'll pull up the map afterwards.
Okay. 'Cause I don't.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill 3925 will go to first reading on July 14th. Clerk Torado, will you give first reading to 40-25?
First reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 1527 South Michigan Street, Councilmanic District Number 2 in the City of South Bend, Indiana.
I'd like to entertain a motion to send 40-25 to the Board of Zoning Appeals for public hearing on July 7th
So moved.
and to the Zoning and Annexation Committee for public hearing and third reading on July 14th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Nay. 40-25 moves forward. Clerk Toronto, please give first reading to 41-25.
First reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, approving a petition of the Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 1024 Thomas Street, Councilmanic District Number 2 in the City of South Bend, Indiana.
I'd like to entertain a motion to send Bill 41-25 to the Board of Zoning Appeals for public hearing on July 7th and to the Zoning and Annexation Committee for public hearing and third reading on July 14th.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill 41-25 will move forward. Now we will move to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business from the council?
Yes,
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Councilmember Davis.
Two things. Number one, I would like to say that I'm grateful to have learned today, 5/23/25, that Stevie's Enterprise scrap metal business is now in compliance with and registered with the Indiana Office of the Secretary of State. That was done this past Friday on 5/20. So I'm glad to see that everything that we have voted for right now is in compliance. So I'm very grateful for that. So thank you, and thank the clerk's office for sending that to us via letter. When I put that for the record, because I've asked for that. The second thing is, again, for the third time, I respectfully request our council attorney, Bob Palmer, to please send to the South Bend Community Police Review Board a letter to encourage all of the council appointees to publicly vote on all matters. This is something that I've requested. This is my third time, and to date I have not received anything. And I do, in talking to several people who are with that board, they are in need of that board complying with that because there's still issues going on with that. And so talked to a appointee last week and had great concerns that I'll bring some of those later on. But right now, we really need a letter from our council attorney. And is there any reason what's delayed that? I know there was some other issue 2 weeks ago, but is there any reason why that's been delayed?
Mr. Masters has given me his opinion letter that he shared with both the city legal department and with the Community Police Review Board director. We are working together, the legal department, the director, the attorney for the Community Police Review Board, Mr. Masters, and myself to work out any differences we have in the legal requirements. As soon as we have worked out all those differences, we will give you a report.
Okay, and is the letter was to ask for that, but is there any reason why it has to be worked out for differences? I'm misunderstanding the answer.
I'm sorry, didn't hear you.
I'm misunderstanding the answer because you shared that you're working out differences. I just wanted a letter saying that we're encouraging the people to vote publicly. What's the delay on that?
Which is part of Mr. Masters' opinion letter that he shared with me. Yes, sir.
Okay.
The opinion letter is more comprehensive than just that one issue.
Oh, I recognize. Oh, trust me, I do know that it's more comprehensive than that one issue. I didn't want to bring all the issues that I'm fully aware of. I just know that one issue is just there. I mean, there's a lot more that from that standpoint.
We are in full agreement that the votes have to be public.
Okay. I will then send out a letter myself to them and we'll do that from that standpoint. And those who may want to join is fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. Some of us have made our opinions, have shared opinions on that issue with the director of the CPRB board.
Oh, I have two.
And so council members can feel free to um, direct your thoughts to him as well. Let's move on. Are there any other unfinished business? Anyone? Okay. Move on to new business. Is there any new business? from
Yes.
council members? Yes,
I
Councilman,
have some too.
Councilwoman Ophelia Gooden Rogers.
Yes, I'd like to announce that, if you're not busy this Saturday, the 28th at 8 a.m., my committee will be meeting under the, pavilion on Westmore at 8 a.m. We will have a cleanup. We have about 5 streets we want to do. So if you're not busy or you just need something to do, come on out and join us. And if you, bring something cool, we got plenty of water, but other than that, just come on out and give us a hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Davis?
Yes, I would like to encourage us to, while tonight was a great night for the South Side, as we see we heard earlier this afternoon in the committee that I was chairing, and is all over the news regarding the closing of Kroger's on the west side, which is adding to the food desert on our west side. When Walmart closed a couple of years ago, it added to a food desert on the northwest side, leaving only Myers up that way. And now it only leaves us with the Mayflower situation. So those who would like to join me, I want to ask for another alert for stalling, but we have to move quickly in trying to see what can we do either to keep progress. If not, we need to advocate with some other kind of body to encourage another store to move in that area, because that would be such an open space that will be hurting our west side. And people are already sending notes. You can see those stories already in our Tribune and in our news. So it was announced with the Kroger's there. So we have one store and we have a tremendously difficult food desert on the west side. So thank you.
Indeed. Thank you, Councilman Davis. Is there any other new business from, yes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Nitzkatsky?
Thank you. It doesn't actually pertain to council business per se, but I would just like to acknowledge that tomorrow is the last day that Mark Peterson will be with WNDU. He has been in our community for 40 years. Tomorrow would be the 40th day, and that is the day, or tomorrow would be the 40th year that he has been with WNDU, and that is the day he chose to retire. He has been very unbiased, straightforward. You know where he stands, and he has been delivering news to the residents of our great city for that many years. And I think that is worth mentioning publicly.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Nitzkatsky. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to the privilege of the floor. I would like to remind everyone that disrespectful, rude, or disruptive speech or actions will not be tolerated. Such speech and or actions, as well as verbal attacks on any person, may result in the individual without notice forfeiting the remainder of his or her allotted time. Individuals who wish to address the council must state their name and residential address. Individuals will be limited to 3 minutes only. The maximum time limit for this portion of the meeting shall be 30 minutes. Individuals shall not be permitted to address topics which the council has heard previously on the agenda.
Yes. It's Logan Foster, 1138 College Street. Another meeting has come and gone. And yet again, this body has chosen to ignore amending Article 2, Chapter 1, Section 210(1) of our municipal code. To quote Bob Palmer, "Nobody tried to reconcile the ordinance with the state statute." Reflect on that for a moment. 34 years of conflict between our city's code and state law, and this council continues to delay action. 34 years of neglect. The time for waiting is over. What must the citizens do to compel their representatives to act? Are we no longer represented in this chamber? Does Councilwoman Ophelia Rogers not represent me in District 2? Do council members Dr. Oliver Davis, Rachel Thomas Morgan, and Karen White not represent all of us at large? Consider the trajectory we are establishing here. If this body refuses to act deliberately and justly, what choices are left to us? What must we resort to suing the city into compliance? Is this the relationship we want between the people and the government? A city locked in litigation over issues that could be resolved with professionalism and accountability. I stand here today to reiterate that I have consistently communicated my concerns to you publicly in this public venue. Time and time again, I have raised my voice only to have it fall on deaf ears. To record, the record of this institution reflects your inaction and worse, bias. It shows moments of clear transgression where Councilwoman Sheila Nagotsky assaulted me in this very room, where Clerk Tirado and officers of the South Bend Police Department colluded, captured on body camera, to falsely accuse me of staging a public conflict, where Mayor Mueller's office concocted made-up racist accusations to silence my voice and violate my rights under the First and 14th Amendments. The weight of these actions are heavy. These are not isolated incidents. They form a pattern of contempt for cooperation, for fairness, and for the public trust. This body must choose to do its job, not for appearances, but for the good of those it represents.
30 seconds, sir.
It is time to work with unity with the public rather than conspiring against it. It is time to be proactive, not reactive.
Thank you. Are there others?
Carlos Leyva, 448 South Olive Street, South Beninia. Good. I was able to make it after the school board meeting. Usually conflicts at the same time, so I'm lucky I came here. So we just had our graduations. We had a great turnout. Everyone had a great time. I think next year we'll look at a different location. Maybe have back at the Century Center or at the high schools. And then I have my notes here. Track, yes. So I don't know if you know, in the past 4 years, we had 3 state champions. 2021, Will Neubauer Adams, Angel Thomas, 2023, and then this past month, we had Adriana Swanson, a junior at Washington High School, won the 100-meter hurdles. Went undefeated the whole year. She worked her butt off. Last year, actually, she failed to qualify for the finals, and it drove her this whole year. And her dad's a great coach, Adrian Swanson. So we had a great celebration for her. And then talking to all the track coaches, we need. So when I went down to the state, I saw a lot of the track teams. They have their own indoor facilities, and that's something we're lacking. And I don't know how we don't have the money to build one, but we need to find a place for these great track athletes to practice during the winter. Just some kind of indoor track. I don't know, maybe rent one, but that's kind of what we're looking at because you have some great athletes. I think deserve a place, where they can train year round. And then things are, school board. We're trying to get things going along. We have a great attorney, Pete Augustino. Every day he's teaching us something new. I know, a lot of board members have been frustrated with the past administration. Frustration is built and publicly, and I just want to say, I understand the frustration, but I don't agree with publicly expressing your anger. We need to control our emotions, so we're going to do better. I attended the Boys and Girls Club auction and fundraiser last week. That was fun. I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club. It's a big part. I'm advocating to get those clubs in our schools, at least our grade schools. Especially in the middle schools, that's where it's toughest, and we need to get that partnership. So I'm working on it. Unfortunately, past administration created some obstacles, but with our new superintendent, now we're able to work with the Boys and Girls Club now and get things moving forward. We had a great turnout for the police cookout. Scott Riskowski was great. Him and Mr. Eid are talking on a regular basis, working out a good partnership.
30 seconds, sir.
And then I know maybe Karen White can go more, but we have a town hall meeting tomorrow. Education's a big topic. I think it's from 6 to 8 at the library, so I'll be there and encourage the public to attend. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leyva.
Good evening.
Good
My name's Chris Eberly, 609 Walden Court East. I'm back tonight to continue to bring awareness of the lack of pedestrian walkways that surround Jackson Middle School on Jackson Road, just to the west of Miami. It's my understanding that this is the property of South Bend Community School Corporation, and the lack of sidewalks or any pedestrian walkways is continuing to cause very unsafe conditions for children walking to school, children and their parents, students attending school-sponsored events, and for the community at large of the south side of South Bend. I'm imploring all of you to use your connections, use your positions to gain the ear of anyone who may be able to help. I don't know what to do from here. I have lived in this street. My backyard butts up against Jackson. I see Jackson from my backyard, from my kitchen, from my living room, and I see the mayhem out there. It's a 35-mile-an-hour posted zone. We all know what that means. No one's gone 35 on Jackson in decades. I've lived here for 6 years. I've seen multiple seasons come and go, and it's not getting any better. The one little bit of grass that's littered with no parking signs is continuously covered in vehicles because there's not adequate parking for the athletic fields, again, for South Bend School Corporation sponsored events. This is a problem. It's a matter of time until there is an accident involving anyone. Hopefully that's not a kid. Hopefully that's not a student of the school board or of the school corporation. So again, I don't know where to go from here. I'm attending, I'm giving up my evenings to be here, asking for your help, your assistance. Ms. Sherry has been a valuable resource. Thank you very much. But if anyone can help at all, my next step is to do the same thing at school board meetings. I'm just not sure where else to go. So any help would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have shared your comments with the administration, and thank you, Councilwoman Bolden Simpson, for following up on some of that as well.
Thank you. I'll continue to work.
Clerk Torado, is there anyone online?
I do not see any members of the public online wishing to speak under privilege of the floor.
Thank you, everyone, for attending. If there's no other business, we stand adjourned.